Hello everyone, how are you doing? I'm alright. I got all the parts in for this Explorer, the front end rebuild. So we'll be doing everything underneath the front end. Tie rods, control arms, CV axles. Only thing we're not replacing in the front end right now is the struts and the rotors and the brake pads, because those are also pretty good. Start by popping these caps off. Here's all the new parts laid out. Okay, I got it up on jack stands. Make sure they're in a safe, secure location on the frame. I'll take off the tires next. Start going after the control arms and getting it all taken apart. I picked up the inner tie rod removal tool. You're gonna need these for inner tie rods. We'll show you that when we get to it. Guys, for this one, you're gonna need the 19 on there. That'll take the tire out. But let me go over some stuff quick first. You're gonna need a plethora of tools for this. You're gonna need pry bars, big hammers, your pickle fork. See, just take a look at a lot of stuff I got. You're gonna want at least a pipe wrench because we got some big bolts we're working with. Otherwise, I'll let you know the sizes as we go. But you can just follow along with me if you're doing this project at home. See, I got the torch in case I gotta heat any bolt up. I got that impact. I got the cutting wheel and the grinder. I'll show you where we can use that later to make it quicker and easier. Always make sure you got your safety glasses and stuff on. Also, we got the PB blaster. We got some big crescent wrenches. We don't want to have to use that, but we will if we have to. So, all right, I'll show you. I'll get that tire off. Okay, we're gonna get that axle nut off. Check yours, what your vehicle is for your measurements, your Explorer. I got a 2003. So we got that off. Okay, we're gonna spray some PB blaster back here on these other parts, back here on the back of the brake caliper, and then we'll compress our brake caliper and we'll unhook our ABS line. It goes up in here. You're gonna want to take off these little protective splash pads. I'll show you that when we get that all taken down too. To disconnect the ABS, you'd have to go up into follow the wire up in the hood, in the engine compartment. You can get it right up in there, right above there. I'm taking off the caliper now and I'm gonna let that hang there. You should wire it up for risk of breaking the brake line. Those were 18 millimeter. If it's sticking tight to the rotor, compress your caliper with a C-clamp, but be careful that you don't crush your brake lines back here or your bleeder valve screw. Your ABS line is going to be a little bleeder or a little Allen wrench screw. Find the right size and take it off. Remove the rotor so you can get to it. Alright, we got the caliper hanging there. Now we're taking off the lower ball joint nut. You have to remove the cotter pin. I used a breaker bar to crack it free, and now I'll use my ratchet to spin it off. And then we'll take a pickle fork and insert it between there, a little gap by the ball joint, and beat it till it comes out. So the ball joint's loose. Now I'm gonna cut that tie rod end free because I can't get to it. It's so bad rusted, and I'm replacing it anyway with the new one. So we're gonna fire up the cutting wheel, take it off. I'm also going to cut off that sway bar link while I have the grinder going. So then that'll be out of the way. Yeah, I got it out. Cut that off. You'll still have to take the nut off, or you can cut it off. It was heated up enough for me to be able to get it loose now. Now I'm going to take off the upper ball joint from the upper control arm, and I'm going to take this whole knuckle out of here so I can get to the spindle to get the bearing hub replaced. It took some beating, but I got it off. I'm going to take one of these screws backed out, one of these bolts. That was dangerous. I'm going to take those two out, and you got to beat it out of there. So I got the new one on here, the new hub. This was the 3 bolts on the back, came out 15 millimeter, and I put them in and I tightened them in a star pattern, triangle pattern. Just snug them up real good. Double check if there's not a torque spec on those. I went and removed the tie rod end with our tool, the inner tie rod from right there. That's what it looks like now. I had to get behind it and lay down, and I had to peck this way with the flatheads underneath a boot here. The front part can come off with pliers. There's a little clamp. The back part, I had to get behind it and pry it open. I'll be replacing that with a hose clamp. And I used that tool. So you go with this tool here, you find the right size. 1 7/16 I think was the right size. And then you put it around the end. You put it around this end. See how it's hex shaped, so you can find the right fitting. You put it on there, then you slide your tube in. Slide your tube over the tie rod end. Make sure you take your measurements for your alignments as close as possible. Then go get an alignment after you do all this. And you slip it all the way over. You lock it. There's a little prong with a tab there. You spin it to keep it in place. Then you put your 1/2 inch in the end, and you reverse it. I got the new tie rod, inner tie rod going on there. I'll show you how to reassemble all the boot and everything. We'll get that fixed up and made nice. So we're gonna put that on there. Okay, so this one's a little tighter. We need a different one. See the clip on there? Now I'll put the tool on there. After you put that on and you lock that little tab back there, you're gonna want to put pressure your way and then tighten so you really can't get no more. Give it. You might want to look up specs for torque, but I'm not. You can. So I got the boot back on. I'm gonna clamp it in the back with just a hose clamp because I cut the old clamp off. Tap the boot off on the clamp, the old one, with the flatheads. Now we're gonna fix that and we're gonna set our end and get our tie rod end on. I got that new tie rod end on. Got the boot on. That's how she should look. Okay guys, I'm sorry about this, but I had to cut some video. I didn't get the old controller arms in on the lower, but I did get new ball joints. And for that you'd use the press. I really do apologize for this video. It's not my best work, but we got the new CV axle in, we got the new upper control arm in. And on the driver's side, we got her all put back together. Just ran into some snags. We got everything but the lower control arms on.